we got to learn to stand a little prosperity. We can't stand prosperity. We'll get up, with a chance maybe to build on that, and then we'll do something ourselves to let them back in. Have 2 or 3 breakdowns on defense. I think there early we were up 19 to something, and we gave up 2 threes in a row, and she didn't get another 3 after that. But we gave up 2 threes in a row to the same player, and then let them drive across the middle, and they broke us down and got another 2 or 3 off of that, and then they're right back in it. Well, then we run it out again, and then the next thing you know, here we come right back. We've got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. Again, Elena had 5 turnovers. Blair had 4 turnovers. We had 14 turnovers, and 2 of our most important players had 9 of them. And then what I'm talking about is our defensive breakdowns. We know we work on defense every single day. Now, you got to look. We had a pretty good team for 48 points. So, I shouldn't be complaining, but they probably should have been in the lower 40s or 30s. And then we got to score better. We didn't do a good job there running our offense and putting the ball. I don't know what we ended up shooting. It looks like, for the game, 39%. We got to do better than that. First quarter, 50%. Second quarter, 33, fourth quarter, 44. So we got to do a better job. Questions?
What was the adjustment to limit the 3 points from the Jack State?
We just started communicating better. Our whole deal was that we a couple of those threes where Blair's man threw the ball, and then Blair's in the middle where she should be, and then her guy cuts to the corner and nobody was on her, and she gets an uncontested 3 a couple of times in a row. And then early on, Savannah's man got a couple of uncontested 3s. 2 of our better players. We got to do a better job of that. We can't make mistakes like that coming down the stretch.
Yuhan got some more minutes, I assume, for the defensive matchups, or what are you seeing more out of her on that defensive end?
Yuhan flies around a lot, so that's good. In that game like we had tonight, that was good.
How do you think your team prepared coming off that 2-game road loss?
Well, anytime you're coming off 2-game losses, you got to work more on the mental aspect than you do on the physical. And, early on, I thought Blair Bogus got us at bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden, we went away from it. Why, I don't know, because we were calling her play, but we couldn't get her the ball, or we were taking shots that we shouldn't take. Fast breaks a couple of times there. AC had people open and threw the ball out of bounds. I mean, we're our worst enemy. We got to do a better job with that.
Coach, talking about Jack State pulling back in, they were within 6 at the start of the 4th quarter. You come out with the half-court press. What adjustments did you tell the team?
Well, we wanted to slow them up and make them use a little time, and that's what it did. We wasn't really trying to steal the ball as much as we were trying to get them to use a little time instead of them coming down and getting right into their offense. And I think it worked. We got 2 or 3 turnovers. How many turnovers did they end up having? 15. We had 14. So, 14 is better than 26 or 28 we had last week in one game. So, but I'm still not happy with that.
In that same time period, the offense was able to extend that lead again. Do you see that as the result of the defense, or just them in late game situations?
I think when we're able to extend, it's because we bear down and execute. We get the ball in there and we get uncontested 3s, or Blair gets in there and we're getting to the free throw line. So I'm pretty happy with that. What do we have? Elena 11, Kirsten 12, Blair 17, Macy 12. We can live with that. 4 people in double figures. Pretty good job.
And then finally, looking at the larger picture at this point in the season, where does the team need to improve to go into a conference tournament setting?
We got to win. We still got a shot to be second in this conference. But we got to win. We can't have a mess up. And, we didn't need a mess up tonight. We don't need a mess up Saturday.
Blair, 16 rebounds tonight. After last week you had 13 in total. Is it safe to say that was kind of a point of emphasis for you tonight?
For sure. Against the Missouri State game, we only got 1 offensive board, so that was a big thing for us coming into this week. So we really need the offensive rebound, so I really tried my best to do that tonight.
Macy, on that same accord tonight, 0 fouls, and you fouled out both games last week. Is that safe to say that was another point of emphasis for you?
Yeah, I came in and watched some film, saw some things where I need to be smarter at, and just not getting cheap fouls. And I think it obviously helped because I want to be on the floor. I hate being on the bench. So
Blair having 16 rebounds. Macy, you got 8 yourself. Is it more difficult to box out your man or Blair for rebounds? That's for you, Macy.
Like Blair in practice?
Yeah, or even in games for that matter, just as much of a ball hawk as she is.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Is it more difficult to box out Blair, your own teammate, for balls because she gets 16 a game, or your own defender? Who's it hard to get a ball from?
I just let Blair. I know Blair's gonna get it. I'm just there to clean it up if Blair doesn't get it or if it goes another way. But yeah, I just hold my man out because I know she's gonna get them. So.
Kirsten, you too had 5. How much of that side of the game? Because as a point guard with girls like this who are really good rebounders, getting 5 is still a point of emphasis for you as well. How much pride of that side of your game do you take?
Yeah, kind of like Macy said, I'm just there to clean up, really. Obviously, he made it a point of emphasis for me to get to the free throw line and get those long rebounds, so that's kind of what I was going for today.
When the team is, Kirsten, when the team is playing their best, what is this team doing well?
Obviously, getting rebounds, getting stops on defense, and kind of going at our pace on offense. Like, yes, we're going to get some transition, but just setting up an offense, especially that's my job as point guard, to set up the offense and then get us kind of at our own flow and at our own pace. So I think that's when we're at our best.
Coach talks a little bit about the half-court offense, trying to extend. You talk about getting into transition, but the half-court offense is really where this team excels their most. Talk about limiting those turnovers, because obviously that was a big part of tonight, but also a big part of last week, what happened against FIU.
Yeah, again, big point of emphasis for us in practices. He was basically having our practice boys pressure me and pressure all the girls this past week of practice. So I think having that pressure and having that like expectation and then going into games and performing, obviously keeping it clean, not having turnovers, because we can only run our offense if we have the ball in our hands. So.
Blair, Coach said, too, that coming off last week, it's vital that you guys work more on the mental side of this game. How do you think you and your teammates prepared for this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into our scout and just mentally preparing about what we do in practice, how we're supposed to guard, keeping in mind our offenses and how we need to run them is a big part of it. Just studying how this game is played, what our defense is doing. So just really preparing your mind days ahead of the game.
Kirsten, fourth quarter, coming out of that first timeout, y'all go into the press. Talk about that timeout and how you were able to extend that lead on offense through the defense.
Yeah, I think what our goal was with the press a little bit was just to slow them down on offense, because they were pretty much using a lot of the shot clock on offense, and it was kind of getting us tired. So that press was really to kind of rattle them and take a few minutes off of their offensive possession. So I think that's what really got us going.
And then Macy, obviously playing at home, you have the home crowd behind you. How does that help y'all on defense, knowing that everybody in the gym wants the other team not to score?
Yeah, it's very nice to have a home crowd, obviously. It's always nice to play in the Murphy Center because we do have such a great fan base. And so, it kind of gives you a little chip on your shoulder whenever you're going into ball games and even when you're in tight games, because, the crowd affects the opposing teams, obviously. And so it definitely helps us a lot.
And then on the other end, when y'all are on the road, what's the steps y'all got to take to block out noise like that?
Yeah, we just can't get in that position in the first place. When we're in another man's gym, we don't need to dig holes, and I think that's kind of what we did last week. We didn't do the little things right last week, and so that's something that was a big emphasis this week, was do the little things right, get ahead early, and we did that. We kind of let them get back in the game, but we ultimately finished it out, and that's what we ought to do.